Welcome to another edition of Buck What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buck What You Heard. You follow me, I'll follow you back. And I'm joined tonight by one of the longtime listeners of Buck What You Heard. It's something different that I try to do. I want to make sure that, you guys get a voice. The people that are willing to come in and subscribe and listen and, put up with some of my ravings at times. I'm joined tonight by Matthew Kitchel, longtime listener. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing excellent. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Tell everybody about yourself. You are a longtime Bucs fan, season ticket holder, long-suffering fan. So tell everybody about yourself.
Man, born and raised Tampa, Florida.
There
Been
you
a
go.
fan all my life. My brother and I have been going to the game since 2000. That Bucs are my team. I always ride hard for them every chance I get. I just love my team. I love my city.
There you go, man. You can't ask for anything else. Matt, tell everybody. I mean, when we watched that last game against the Atlanta Falcons and that game was over, and we knew that we were going into the offseason, what were your thoughts at that time?
Honestly, we dominated the game. We should have blown them out. It was very disappointing. But my thoughts walking out of the stadium was, this is for the better, because now we don't have to play the Cowboys next season. We got a better draft pick.
Yeah.
And if you look at Super Bowl, where if we would have won, I think we would have had to play the Cowboys and.
Yeah, I lost your mic. I lost your sound.
Hello.
Okay, you're back. Can you repeat that last part?
I just said that we avoided the Cowboys by losing. We got a better draft pick. And, that in itself was worth it for me. And also, we dominated the game. I think there was a tip pass. The defense watched hit the ground. Other than that, they played great. And, we should have scored a lot of points on them. They didn't really want none of us. But
Yeah.
we played terrible enough to lose. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
That went overtime.
Well,
I'm glad we lost, honestly.
Well, let's fast forward to right now. And new quarterback. You brought a lot of your defensive players back, and you re-signed players. What are your thoughts right now on the team moving forward? I mean, we all know that the roster's is fluid, so there are going to be continuous changes going into the season. I mean, what you see right now is not what you're going to see when we kick off in September. So, just your thoughts right now on the direction that the general manager and the coach are taking this team. How comfortable are you right now?
I feel we're Super Bowl bound. I'm very comfortable. I love the direction we've gone in. And, I've been very vocal against Mr. Light. But I think he's done an excellent job this offseason.
Would you go so far as to say he's redeemed himself from his first few seasons as a general manager?
Well, I think he did that in last year's draft, honestly, before now. He had to make up for 16 and 17.
Oh, yeah.
And the 2019 draft was excellent. 4 starters. That's a good job. So, although Nelly is hurt a lot, but he got a pass rusher. So I thought we did all right, with the draft. So, but I think Bruce Arians has had more to do with it because Dirk Cutter could have led to the OJ pick. You never know how if the head coach has something to do with the picks.
You bring up, that's an interesting point because I dislike Mark Dominic. That's no secret that I dislike him. He's right up there with Greg Schiano. But when you hear some of the stories coming out of One Buck after they're gone, you're just like, well, I don't know who to really believe or not to believe. But it's funny. All the general managers that talk the most are the ones that aren't working right now. So, you kind of, when I see his comments on Twitter or social media, I just like, oh, okay, whatever. And I just kind of go on about my business. But, what Jason Light has been able to, do here, bring in a Vita Vea, which I swear there were fans that wanted to launch him into the sun for making that move. Yeah. And,
I was at the draft party for Joe Buck fan and they were booing. So,
yeah. That's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, now you look at it, but that's what we need, and we need youth up front. And
the one thing that I will say is I've been clamoring for defensive line attention to the defensive line for a long time, And I know that they've missed on some picks and they brought in some free agents that didn't pan out. But, it comes down to, your scouts and, bringing in guys that fit in that system, guys that, and being healthy. That's a huge part of it as well. So like you, I'm optimistic about this season. And I have expectations that the Bucs have to go to the playoffs. I mean, there's no other answer for this. The Bucs have to go to the playoffs. Okay. There's no 7. There's no 8-8. There's none of that. The Bucs have to go to the playoffs, and this should be. And I think that we've kind of lost this as a fan base, but these should be our expectations every year. And I know sometimes it doesn't happen or it hasn't happened for us, but we're overdue. The Bucs fan base is overdue to get to the playoffs. And I've been chiming this ever since the season's been over. I want to talk about who we're playing in the playoffs. I don't want to talk about who we might be drafting. I don't want to talk about who we can get in free agency. I want to talk about the next game in the playoffs that the Bucs are going to be playing. That's where I want to get to. And I want to get to where that's comfortable.
To win, I look back last year how we struggled to beat the Colts, and then the next week the Saints blew them out. Why are we making it hard on ourselves? We're 2-5 at home if you count London.
Right.
And I like what they're doing, bringing in we solidified our defense with veterans because we don't have a time for learning curve with Todd Bowles. We're bringing in people that are veterans. I would love for them to stack defense and draft offense.
Right.
And I think the least thing I liked about Mark Dominic is when he ran Doug Williams out the door. That really hurt.
Yeah. When you talk about, you mean Josh Freeman or Doug? Oh yeah. You're right. You are so right. Light bulb just came on just now when he went to Washington, and he was like welcomed, and then all of a sudden, he's gone. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I guess, kind of going back to, our history and where we are right now. When I look at this team, the one thing that sticks out to me that kind of concerns me, and this is not a knock on Ronald Jones, but you need another running back. I mean, the days are gone where you have a bell cow, three down back. You need another running back in there. You just do. And I would love to see the Bucs make a move and get somebody. I'm scared. I'm scared of them drafting one. And for reasons of my own, I'm not going to go into it. Oh, your mic just. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's real light. I can't hear. I can just barely hear you a little bit. Okay.
All right.
There we go.
I think you have to draft them. I think you got to have fresh legs. These running backs, their tires right out and they're no good. Ronald Jones was hurt as a rookie because they tried to bell cow him. Last year they used the split back system and he was healthy the whole year. So I think that's the best thing for Ronald Jones is to get a number 2 or a number 1 to push him and to use the the 2-back offense.
Yeah. And we saw how that worked out for the New Orleans Saints, having somebody like an Ingram, and then you've got an Alvin Kamara. Mm-hmm. I'm not comparing that to the Bucs situation. I'm just saying you need that bruising back that's gonna wear down a defense. And then you've got Ronald Jones, who I believe has nice hands. I don't think he gets enough credit for his catching ability, but I think that he could be utilized a little bit more. And I think with a quarterback like Tom Brady holds everybody accountable, and that's something that I really expect to see more of is him coming in. Hey, this is what you need to do. Or why did you run this sloppy route here? You need to run this route to here. So these are things that these are why my expectations are so high, is because they've been building this current team up since 2014. So at some point
we kept the offense, so we upgraded the quarterback. So really we've never had a team like this. Yeah. I mean, we kept the defense and then we upgraded quarterback on offense. So this is like a whole new team, like you said.
Yeah, there you go. And again, that's what I'm hoping for, is that Jason Light and Bruce Arians can find that running back that's going to be the difference maker and take a lot of pressure off of Tom Brady. And again, Tom Brady is one of those players you have to keep him upright. So, whatever they do on the offensive line, there has to be consistency. That offensive line has to gel, and they all have to play as a unit. They can't play as individuals. And I think that's something that's going to be very important, as we've seen Tampa come out of the gates pretty slow at times.
Yeah, I wish Ryan Jensen could take on more of a leadership role with that line, because I know he's makes himself accountable, but maybe he's not, getting in other people's grill. But the tackle play last year was terrible. I say we need to, draft multiple tackles and multiple running backs and maybe even a wide receiver, because I would love for us just to focus on the offense, for the whole draft.
Yeah.
If we could bring in another, D tackle, another safety, then we could just focus on the offense.
Yeah. Now, in your opinion, would you like to see them bring in a veteran back there in that secondary? The secondary is very young, and we've seen this. We've already seen this 2010 when you've got that squad, that 10-win squad from under Raheem Morris. There were no veterans on that team. Could you imagine how much better that team would have been with some veteran presence or some veteran influence in the locker room than what they ended up being? It's just one of those things. I really value that veteran presence. I look at JPP and what he's meant to that defensive line. I look at Ndamukong Suh and what he's meant to that defensive line. And, just for the record, I'm not taking shots at anybody that was here or anything like that. It's just you've got a different type of player in there playing next to a young Vita Vea who can actually learn from, that mentality, learn from that. This is how you do business, the different nuances of the game. So, I think that
I believe Vita got talked to about being more nasty too by the GM, so that's definitely true.
Yeah, most definitely. Will the Brewer says, "Oh yes, Youngry." I remember that.
Yes, Youngry. Raw wasn't the coach to go Youngry with. That's for sure.
I know, right?
He was down in close spot. Okay.
That was
a. That's you
hey. You know what? Will the Brewer, that's probably the best comments that I've read tonight, the Youngry, because I remember that. I used to make jokes about it. And I remember being at work, and I was getting ready to skip work, because I worked at Verizon, and I was going to go to watch the Bucs practice over at Pepinrude. Not Pepinrude, but yeah, actually it was Pepinrude.
It used to be Pepinrude back in the day.
Yeah. And we made comments about that because it was kind of funny. And then, no, I take that back. It wasn't Pepinrude because they were in Orlando at the time that Raheem Morris was there, because Chucky. Okay. So,
right.
But it's been a while, and I just had to get my thoughts together here. But yeah, I remember going down to Orlando too to watch him practice. So,
that was a lot of history. Move, actually.
Yeah,
that was a way to expand our fan base.
Yeah, most definitely. And, ironically, I've talked to people that are from Orlando that said that's how they became Bucs fans, because, they were down there practicing and stuff. So it's nice to have them back, though. I mean, nice to have them back practicing here, and we've got a nice facility.
Our weather's better. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Our weather's better in Orlando. It's hotter in Orlando. They had a lot more problems with heat exhaustion and stuff, honestly.
I hate the drive. I hate getting on. I hate the drive to Orlando.
Yeah, if they cars on that road.
Man, if they could ever get a light rail or something like that, that would be ideal just to go to Orlando. But that we can say that for another time. So
absolutely.
So kind of getting back to this here, what are your thoughts? I mean, you were talking a little bit about offensive line. Is there anybody out there that is either a free agent? I know we're low on money, or the Bucs are low on money right now, or do you address that in the draft?
I think you got to go in the draft. I think you got to go in the draft, and I don't know if you have to trade up. That's something I'm scared of. But I wanted us to go out.
What scares you about trading up?
Because we have so many needs. We have so many needs, and we lose. You lose your draft capital when you trade up. We need our running back 2. We need a wide receiver 3. I guess we're all right at guard now that we addressed that in free agency. We need another defensive tackle to replace Bo Allen. I think we'll be all right at edge, but I'd like to bring in like a Clay Matthews or so, or a veteran there. I want vets on the defense. So we still have to replace Nassib. And are you comfortable with that with AAA if Whitehead goes down again? That's the thing in the back. And and Mike Edwards, or do you think he's ready to go? Because we're it's Super Bowl or bust this year. We got a 40
Yeah.
year old quarterback. We really don't have time to play. I would almost like to see. I've seen the Minnesota banter. I would almost like to see us trade back, get two number ones, and try to go after Neil Adams or something. And the Jets, would try to do that. It's just shore up the back end, shore up the defense, and let Brady try to work with what's in front of him. But he
Right.
got to have a line, man. He's not a mobile quarterback, so that's the one thing.
Yeah.
And right tackle is a vacant spot right now, so that it's kind of like where we lost Quan and we had to replace it with a linebacker because we didn't do it in free agency, so we went on and got Devin White. We're in the same
Mm-hmm.
situation this year. But I even think the fifth best tackle would be fine where we're at.
Yeah. So what do you think about that you mentioned the number 3 receiver? With
Yes.
who the Bucs have right now, a wide receiver core. You go from Mike Evans, then you go to Chris Godwin, and then there's a steep drop off to your number 3 receiver with the loss of Brashard Perryman.
Grand
Do
Canyon.
you? Yeah, it is a huge drop off, and this reminds me eerily of Mike Evans' rookie year when Vincent Jackson went down, and they were
Yeah,
and
I was glad we played out. He played out his contract, but VJax didn't give us a lot on the back end.
yeah, the injuries, man. I mean, Father Time is undefeated, so it's kind of one of those deals. But just kind of
Deep
it
draft
just
though.
and again, man, it scares me. That
Yeah,
number 3
no,
receiver position
I,
scares me.
Gene, I was at training camp last year. I don't have any confidence in Watson or Miller.
Really?
All right.
You
Yeah,
know,
I don't have any. No, those Watson is not a polished receiver. He drops the ball. Miller is going to be injured his whole career. He's tiny. You know, I just don't have no faith in those guys. Miller couldn't even get it done as a punt returner, if you recall, because he couldn't take the hits.
yeah, and I totally
So,
understand. And it's funny. Willie Horace was saying there's a lot of good receivers in this draft, so that's something that
correct.
we really need to be, I guess, looking at. I'm gonna tell you what. I've been lazy this year. I haven't.
Trade
Normally,
back.
I've been on top of the
I'm on
draft. I've
team
been
trade back.
and I've been on top of the draft normally. I've been on top of free agency, but this year it was just like, man, it's hard to get wound up to start getting into it. And then with all
Right.
these other things that are going on in the world today, it's just like, man, I got to get focused and get back into this. And slowly but surely, I've been watching a few players. I've been watching some defensive tackles and a couple of linebackers, and I really need to get full steam back into this, but I just haven't done it. But
I, I
yeah,
tend I tend to fall in love with the combine myself. I always three things I always do in the off season. It's the Shrine Bowl, the Reese's Senior Bowl, and the combine.
mm-hmm.
And I love the receiver from Michigan, Peeble something. I love Claypool from Notre Dame. It's a bunch of
Yeah,
great receivers we had later down the draft.
yeah.
And a lot of people say we're going to get Mims. We can get Mims at the end of the first, at the end of the first round.
Yep.
So
Or maybe you can use some of these picks and move back up into the first round again. So
yeah, if you trade back.
yeah,
We got to
I've
get
got
we got to get a
somebody.
right tackle. It's the
Yeah,
same thing we did last year. Our first round pick has to be a right tackle, but nothing says we can't trade back and use that first round pick.
yeah. There you go. Browns in our blood. Shout out to the Cleveland Browns podcast. We've got listeners from all over, and I appreciate that. Shout out to you guys. They're saying you'll be able to find a good receiver on day 2 or 3 in the draft with high ceilings. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I think we
You
played
know,
Cleveland this year in preseason, so
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Eric Hardman, what's going on? Willie Horace said you lose two third down receivers to $8 million or less in the last 2 years. Yeah, with Adam Humphries gone, and then you lose Rashard Perryman, who had a resurgence, by the way, playing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think that Rashard Perryman has ever played that good in his NFL career as he did with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that should make some noise there. I'm gonna
yeah, the light came up
this is
for
gonna
him.
I think this is gonna sound like a hot take here, but I don't expect the same thing with him being with the Jets. I don't expect him to.
He's not as good as Robbie Anderson, so he can probably do about 3/4 what Robbie Anderson put out.
Yeah. And then Will the Brewer is saying he's heard national sports talk being fired up about Scotty Miller coming back in the slot. I like Godwin's production last year. You know what? We don't know what we're going to see. To be honest, I don't know what we're going to see.
At anything.
Yeah. I don't know what we're going
to split screen. He's throwing the screen to his ass. You know
and as physical a receiver as he is, I know DBs hate going up against him because he's just that guy. And
his head power should be through the roof.
Yes. and again, this is a guy that they have to re-sign him. You've got to re-sign.
Chris Godwin. They said they're going to give him about between 10 and 11 millions. Yes. They said the two people they're going to re-sign is Levante and Godwin. They're in lame duck years. They're doing lame duck years. So, and they said they're going to give him between 10 and 11 million, which is good because if you look at Evans' draft class, all of them been shipped off because they all wanted big money and they all got shipped to different teams. Evans was the only one that got paid at the original draft spot.
Yep. You're absolutely right. And man, that draft, I took a lot of grief because I hate Johnny Manziel, and I hated Johnny Manziel while, I went on record saying on a radio show that Manziel should cut that Heisman Trophy in half and give half of it to Mike Evans because I just don't feel like he was that guy. And
Evans beat the hell out of the Gators. They led the Gator Nation on that.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things, man. And you want to be confident with the draft. You want to be confident that they've looked at this board and they're comfortable. Yes. So in your mind, would you say that this last draft that we saw was more of a Bruce Arians draft, or was this more of a Jason Light draft that we saw last year?
It was more of a Jason Light draft, but I think Bruce Arians had a little edge on the scouting, if that makes sense. Like he was like, I want these guys. His draft board, I think, was influenced more by Arians, but it's one thing Jason Light has always done is throw picks at a position. If we're low on line, he'll throw 2 or 3 picks at the line. If we're low on receivers, he'll throw 2 or 3 picks at receiver. He's always done that. Defensive tackle, stuff like that. So,
but this last year, you saw a little bit more quality. Jumping out. You saw a little bit more quality in the players that you got. And again, correct, folks, we're joined by one of our longtime listener, Matthew Kitchel, longtime Bucs fan. He's been with Buck What You Heard for the longest, friend of the show, and I'm just I'm glad to have him on. And guys, this is what I'm saying. If you get with me, let me know. I will get you on, and we'll talk Bucs football. I got Eric Moreno was on with me on Saturday, and I need to get that video up so we can get him on there. But I had Eric Moreno on as well, a longtime listener as well. And guys, like I said, if you're following
videos on Twitter.
There we go. So please, if you're following me on Twitter, you want to get on, DM me, say, hey Gene, I want to get on. When can I get on? And I'll make it happen. So So again, we're kind of winding down here. What are your thoughts right now? What are your thoughts right now as far as, when you look at the team as a whole after Brady? Because Tom Brady's going to be here for 2 years. If you're a general manager, do you draft a quarterback this year and let him sit behind Tom Brady this year or next year? Or do you wait and try to find that quarterback to sit behind Tom Brady next year?
It depends on if we can get Josh Rosen or not. All right, if I can get that guy, he's worked with Byron already, so I would look at that. Otherwise, I go day 3 only. I don't want to. Day 1 and 2 got to be on starters.
Yeah, he's one of the. When I think about Josh Rosen, he's probably the saddest person. And mentally, you have to be mentally tough to go through what he's gone through from his rookie season to where he is right now. You have to be mentally tough to go through that many letdowns.
Right. Well, I look at it like if you can't beat out Fitzpatrick, you're probably not a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
So he probably got, he had a hard time getting elevated in the draft to somewhere he probably shouldn't have been at.
Mm-hmm.
And his own head coach threw him under the bus. So I would not want to be part of that draft process he went through. I do feel terrible for him. But he just got to he like Brady has to have protection. You got to beef up that
Yeah.
O-line,
Yeah.
that's something. Our interior is all right. I haven't looked at Kappa, but our tackle play last year was not going to get it done on any level. So we got to do better there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you look at Rosen and you move Rosen, ship Rosen off to Miami, and then they bring in
Right.
who a special once in a lifetime quarterback. I understand the move. It was a business move.
Yeah.
And again, he just happened to be the byproduct of a business move at that time. So
Well, you got to go with Kyler Murray. Murray's
yeah,
a stud. So
yeah, he really is. Yeah. Eric
we
Harden
call
is
that a
asking.
Bucs thing.
Eric Harden is asking, any chance of Jameis Winston coming back? No. Eric, I believe that ship has sailed. They're going to go different directions. You never know where Winston will end up. He could end up in Pittsburgh. He could end up in San Francisco behind Garoppolo. You never know. There's a lot of different things that can happen. But just for me, I pretty much said what I needed to say about Jameis Winston, and I'm supporting Tom Brady at this moment. And that's kind of where we are. What would you think about who is the quarterback? Glennon. What would you think about Glennon coming back as a backup?
Never a fan of Glennon. He couldn't beat out McClown when he was here. So if you can't beat out McClown, and Glennon cost us the Cleveland Browns game, if you can believe that. So I was never a big Glennon fan. As far as Jameis, people gotta let that go, man. We moved on. Brady's an upgrade. We don't. He wants too much money to be a backup for us, and he was asking for more money than we signed Brady. So just let it go, man. Let's move on.
Again, Tom Brady's the quarterback at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm just gonna leave it at that, man. And that's kind of just kind of where I'm at. I don't want to be that guy because the thing that I really dislike about Twitter, social media is when a fan favorite is gone or a fan favorite moves on, you have both camps. They're either mad about it or real happy about it. I love Jameis Winston. I thought he was, a nice guy and all that. But here we are, and we have our starting quarterback. Let's move on. Right. And my thing is about getting his team to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl, win games in the playoffs. Like I said, I'd rather be talking about who the Bucs are going to be playing in the offseason rather than in the postseason, rather than who you're going to draft or who you're going to get in free agency.
The future is now.
Exactly. So if you've watched the show and you've seen that recently, as I've had guests on, I've dropped them in the hot seat. And so what I do, I've got 10 questions, and I'm going to set the clock for a minute, and I'm going to run down these questions and see how well you do. So what I'm going to do, just to be fair, and because I do cheat to win sometimes, but I'm not going to do that here. You would think I was a Patriots fan the way I like to cheat and spy and all that other stuff, but I'm not going to do that here. So
I will say this: Deflategate was about what was his name? Our running back here, LeGarrette Blount.
LeGarrette Blount.
Deflategate was about LeGarrette Blount. Brady took them 4 games for LeGarrette Blount. So. Because he was a fumbler. If you look at him in the Super Bowl, he fumbled against the Philly, and he never played for New England again. They deflated balls because he was a fumbler. We know that in Tampa. Remember the Doug Martin game, and they put him in. He fumbled the ball, they put Doug Martin back in.
Yep, I remember that. Yep. I definitely do. All right, and the first question: the New York Jets will win the AFC East. Buy or sell?
Sell.
Teddy Bridgewater instantly makes the Carolina Panthers a contender. Buy or sell?
Contender for what? The division?
The division.
No, sell. They're a basement dweller.
Houston Texans, early free agent winner or loser?
Loser.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, early free agency winner or loser?
Major wins. Big W.
Cam Newton will be a starter by the end of the 2020 season. Buy or sell?
I'll sell that one. He'll get picked up, though.
The San Francisco 49ers will return to the Super Bowl. Buy or sell?
Sell.
The Tennessee Titans re-signing Ryan Tannehill. Boom or bust?
I think it's just the same. So, but I guess boom if they go back to the AFC title game. I'll take.
There we go. Todd Gurley, Atlanta Falcons. Boom or bust?
Bust.
Bruce Arians, the O-line is okay. Buy or sell?
Bruce Arians said that? Oh, I'm selling.
All right.
He loves Coach Tony.
Yeah.
Always say, just say whatever he says, say the opposite, think the opposite. I mean, he loves Coach Tony. He does people like that all the time.
Yep, that's what he does. So you missed it by 7 seconds, but it was fun because I wanted to hear your answers.
Hey, that's all right. Gene, I'm a huge fan. I've been watching the show for years, been hitting you up on Twitter for years. We got to get Bug Nation on Twitter to unite. You know what I'm saying? No more division, man. Everybody got to swab the deck. Even the captain got to swab the deck, or they got to walk that plank. You know how it goes.
Yeah, so. And to be honest, man, you're absolutely right. And I think winning games is going to bring all that together. There's so much
respect. That's why we don't get respect.
Yeah, there's so much toxic things going on. With players and with fans, and that comes from a team that continuously loses and doesn't make it to the playoffs. So I think that winning games is going to change a whole lot.
Yeah, winning is respect, and respect is earned, not given, and our city needs some respect.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, hey, Matthew, thank you so much for being on. I really, really appreciate it. This will be up. This will be up here shortly. And there we go. That's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah.
See it?
Yeah.
All right, that's free signature right there, Playboy.
Yeah, man, those were the days right there. All right, my friend.
Like we talked about with Raw.
If
they would have put some veterans the next year, if they would have kept it going.
Yep, it would have been incredible. That's just what it would have been. It would have been so much better. Yeah, you know what? And I tell you what, I really believe that this team is in a good position. And barring any injuries,
it's our division.
Yeah, barring any injuries, yeah, especially the division. When you look at the moves that Atlanta made. You look at what's happened with Carolina. Carolina's not even the same team you saw before. So the Panthers
college results.
Yeah, most definitely. Mm-hmm. So there we are.
But the Saints it's us and the Saints. We got to get her done. We got to close the gap.
Yeah, and they're it's kind of scary with what they're cooking with over there and in New Orleans. So we'll see if we can
defense got to step up.
Yep, see if we can make a difference. All right, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. I want to get your final thoughts before we roll out of here.
Bucs Nation, Super Bowl bound. Let's get on that bandwagon and chew it up, man. It's our year. Everybody got to come together. Twitter Nation, let everyone know it's time to get some respect around the Bay. We're not Guava City, we're the Cigar City. Get it right. Put some respect on our name. It's Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Manatee County got to come together and beat Tampa Bay once and for all.
That's right. 813 all day, baby.
There it is. Say, born and raised in the city by the Bay, East Tampa till I die. Shout out to Grant Park. Shout out to Highland Pines.
Hey, there you go. Shout out to North Boulevard Homes. I know it's gone. R.I.P. Yeah.
Rico.
There you go. Man, that's what we need to start doing. I need to start shouting out all these neighborhoods here.
Hey, I need Eugene to call in the 620 and let him know to talk Bucs football and make him while you call in. That's what I need you to do. And everyone from out of state, all the Buckaholics, Tri-State Bucs, Giants Takeover. Get her done this year, man. We're going to Denver. We're going to Las Vegas. Let's show up at these places.
That's right. Yeah, I'll definitely Vegas. Definitely be there.
Definitely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got to ask this. Okay, Will Brewer, barring any injuries, yeah, man. I mean, that's the NFL, man. That's just injuries are part of the game. That's the only reason I said
really.
that.
We can spare a few injuries as long as we got quality depth.
Yep, there you go.
We got in the Super Bowl without Burger McFarland. Look it up.
Yep, I remember that too. He was on the sidelines with that was that a splint on his hand, on his arm?
Yep, Archer Darby, represent.
There we go, Chuck D. All right, man. Thanks a lot. And again, just hit me up if you want to get on as we get closer to the season.
On Twitter. Always tell Twitter Nation, man, every time we put a YouTube out, retweet that thing, man. Let's get the word out.
I
Let these
appreciate you,
haters
man.
know it's buck or die, buck your feelings.
That's right, man. And Buck, what you heard. So we are out of
That's
here.
right.